podcasts you love.
From people you trust.
This is TWiT.
Hi, this is Leo Laporte, and this is my Tech Guy podcast. This show originally aired on the Premier Network's 200 radio stations strong, coast to coast, on Sunday, July 19th, 2020. This is episode 1712. Enjoy. The Tech Guy podcast is brought to you from TWiT's LastPass studios. Stay in control when it comes to your company's access points and authentication. LastPass makes security simple for your remote workforce. Check out lastpass.com/twit to learn more. This episode of the Tech Guy podcast is brought to you by LastPass. Give your IT department a break and supply them with the tools that really protect your business. Visit lastpass.com/twit to find out how they can help you. And by Roman. Skip the waiting room and awkward face-to-face. Get ED medication conveniently delivered to your door in discreet, unmarked packaging. Go to getroman.com/techguy for a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. Oh, hi. Hey. How you doing? It's time for the Tech Guy Show. This is the show where we talk about computers, the internet, home theater, smartphones, a lot of that, smart watches, all that rigmarole, all the stuff with all the technology stuff, the stuff with chips in it that are changing our lives. If you want to talk high tech with me and the rest of the world, here's your chance. We have a phone number, 8888-ASK-LEO, open to all. It's toll-free in the U.S. or Canada. Outside that area, you could still call it, I guess, but I think the best thing to do would be save yourself some pennies and use Skype Out. And that way you could just phone it, and it shouldn't cost you anything. Anything that allows you to dial an international number or any landline number without paying for it, that kind of thing. 8888-ASK-LEO. Remember when long-distance calls are expensive? Now you can call anywhere in the world for pennies. It's kind of amazing. Or free if you're using something like FaceTime or Google's Duo or Meet or Zoom. Nothing. Costs you nothing. You even get a video picture. That's technology. It's amazing, isn't it? It's always good to kind of remember the good stuff since there's so much bad stuff too. It's always good to, kind of remind us how lucky we are. I was talking to my mom who lives in Rhode Island the other day, and I said, Mom, I'm sorry I can't come visit you, because of the pandemic, and also Rhode Island, which has done a really good job with the pandemic, doesn't like people from California coming in. I think they actually make you self-quarantine for 2 weeks if you come visit. I said, I'm sorry, I can't visit you. She said, that's fine. FaceTime's great. In a way, it would be better, right? Because if I came to visit her, she's 87, I'd have to wear a mask. She'd have to wear a mask. I couldn't hug her. I'd have to stay far away unless I got one of those contraptions. You see people using, either making them out of garbage bags or buying them. Rich Tomorrow had one. They shield you from the outside world. And you put your arms in sleeves like you're working, in a biohazard facility, which I guess in a way we are. We kind of are. So I said, yeah, well, I'm really glad we could FaceTime. I think that's great. And, one thing I do, and I think it's a good idea, is invite her into family events. Like when I'm cooking, I'll set up the phone, prop it up on the salt shaker and on the box of Morton salt, and she can watch and we could talk. And, of course, I grew up, she would do that all the time. I'd be in the kitchen. She'd be teaching me how to make her sauce or whatever. And so it's kind of fun to be able to do that. It's what we would be doing if she were here. It's pretty close, except you can't taste the sauce. But other than that, it's pretty close. TikTok hysteria. Is it hysteria? I don't know. The latest now, last week, Secretary of State Mike Pompeo said, we're looking at banning TikTok in the United States. We're looking at banning it. Oy. And then more recently, and by the way, it could come within weeks, according to Pompeo. I don't know. Is there any precedent for banning an app nationwide in the U.S.? There is, TikTok's banned in India. Actually, a lot of Chinese apps are banned in India. China itself bans Twitter and Facebook from its populace. I guess you could, just as the Commerce Department has said, no U.S. company can sell technology to Huawei, a Chinese phone company, which, by the way, in both TikTok and Huawei's case, it's guilt by association. There's no, there's no real example of them doing bad things. TikTok's done a few bad things. They ban content that's considered unpleasant in China by the Chinese government. They even ban content they probably shouldn't. And every time they get caught, they go, oh, oops, and they turn it around. Also, like many other apps, they recently got caught by a change to the Apple iPhone system, iOS 14. It should be coming to us civilians in the fall, but those who are trying it early said, hey, there's a new feature in it that says something's just looked at your clipboard. And you're in TikTok, and every time you're typing, it looks at your clipboard. Now, you're in the TikTok app. TikTok says, well, no, we're doing that to, I can't remember what it is. Oh, as a convenience, we want to see if you want to paste in a URL or something. That's kind of what the other apps said. Some apps also said it's part of the Google ad stuff there. Google might have put some code out that does that so that Google could look through your clipboard just in case you mention something they've got an ad for. That would be kind of creepy. But they haven't, it's not, they're being accused of being an arm of the Chinese government. I have to say, this feels a little bit like a continuation of the trade war, for one thing. Not a security issue, but of the trade war. And, there was just an editorial in Newsweek saying TikTok is a threat. As evidence, TikTok's privacy policy for U.S. residents is upfront about the vast quantity of user data it collects and shares with the CCP. Well, first of all, they don't say that in the privacy policy. They say we collect it, but they don't say we share it with the Chinese Communist Party. It could be presumed it's a Chinese company that maybe they are doing that. They certainly would have to, if the Chinese demanded it. Just as, by the way, Facebook is snarfing up every bit of your data, and will share it with the federal government, the U.S. government, because they're the U.S. company and they have to do that if required. So I guess the real question is, do you want Chinese apps on your devices? Now, Wells Fargo Bank has banned TikTok. Many government agencies, including the Department of Defense, ban TikTok. But what do you need TikTok for if you're in the Pentagon? I should probably explain for those of us who are not with it, not with the youngs, that TikTok is a social media app where you make short videos, usually a lot of lip syncing, and it's fun, and the kids love it, and it's very entertaining. I don't know if have you ever just install it, and it's like, it's hard to, it's really my problem. The reason I uninstalled it wasn't that I was worried about the Chinese government. What are they going to get about me, where I am? What do they care? I uninstalled it because for a couple of reasons. It's true, I don't want data snarfing apps, so I installed it for the same reason I uninstalled Instagram and Facebook, but also because they were huge time sinks, all three of them. TikTok is really bad. It's so good, it's really bad. It's very entertaining. You start watching videos and they have it's very cleverly designed. So you scroll up and there's the next one and the next one and the next one. If something's bad, you just scroll up right away. They have a very good selection algorithm that picks out the most entertaining stuff. In fact, really, that's their secret sauce. If you compare TikTok to Quibi, that's why TikTok's a hit and Quibi isn't. You know about Quibi. That was the attempt by Hollywood to make a short video app that everybody would love and pay, $5-6 a month, and watching ads and all that. Well, man, they raised almost $2 billion for this. Everybody said, oh, Hollywood, wait till Hollywood gets in this space. They know what to do. There's a problem, and I give credit to Ben Thompson of the Stratechery, website, because he's the first to point this out. The way Hollywood works, they don't know what people want to see, you know. So they make a lot of stuff at great expense and hope that one is a hit because it'll pay for the rest. And they've got it kind of down to a science because there's a scarcity. Not, you know, you can't make 1 million movies. You can only make a certain number of movies or TV shows. So Hollywood, that's their model. YouTube and TikTok is the exact opposite. They have an infinite playing space because the kids and everybody just throwing lots of stuff up there. And all YouTube and TikTok and other sites like that have to do is figure out what's the best. And they can do that easily, automatically, just by seeing what people click and stay and watch. And they have lots of input. And then just bring that up to the top. And the rest, the 999,999 videos that weren't so good, they just float away downstream. So it's a completely opposite business model. TikTok's got a great business model. Instagram, too. Facebook, too. They use their computer science algorithms to surface the best stuff, keep you engaged. That's all they're doing. They're optimizing for engagement. YouTube does this, too. And lo and behold, they've got all of us just giving them stuff to show. Hollywood has to pay people for that. It was kind of sad. Quibi started 3 months ago. You had a 3-month free trial. Kind of dopey shows. Somebody said they look like all the fake shows that they put on 30 Rock. Like, these are shows that were, like, they're so stupid, they're fake. There was one, it was kind of fun. Titus Burgess of the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt started it. I love him. It was one of those food reality shows, except they would put a dish, they would make a dish, and they would put it in a cannon, and they would put the contestants, 2 different chefs, in a room sealed, and they'd fire the food, the macerated, destroyed food on them. Boom. They called it dishmantled. And then the chefs would be tasting the food off their clothes and shoes, and then their job would be to make that dish, whatever they figured out, because they didn't know what it was, and then the judges would give them points based on how close they got, and then there was a big cash prize for the best. That was the whole show. 7 minutes, it's done. And man, I thought, you know, Jeffrey Katzenberg thought this is going to be the guy who was at Disney. This guy knows, you know, he's SKG. This guy's DreamWorks. He knows, this guy knows how to make content. He said, I know there's going to be. So 3 months, they started, millions and millions of people downloaded the app, including me. Millions and millions of people after 3 months said, yeah, never mind, and unsubscribed. I think they only got 72,000 subscribers left. They're not going to make their $2 billion back, I don't think. Meanwhile, TikTok, free, no subscription. People are giving them stuff, uploading stuff like crazy. No big deal. They pick the best stuff and they're huge. Maybe it's jealousy. There's not really any evidence that TikTok's doing anything nefarious, but maybe what they did that was nefarious is maybe they were just too successful. The kids love TikTok. Ask anybody under 20. TikTok? Do you TikTok? They'll tell you. And that's going to be a lot of very unhappy people if the Commerce Department bans it in the next couple of weeks. Watch for that. That'll be interesting. Let's take a break. Our calls are already flooding in. 8888 ask Leo. Just ask me something and I'll try to answer it. Answers and more go on the webpage. TechGuyLabs.com. That's free, no sign up. So keep that in mind. If you want to remember something, you have to write it down. We'll do it for you. It's a miracle. She shows up every week to answer your calls. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you the unbreakable phone angel, Kimmy Sheffer. Hello, Kimmy.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I show up every week because everybody's so friendly on the phone.
Are they?
Yeah.
They're not cranky when they call in?
No. They look forward to talking to you.
That's the difference between this and a tech support line, right? Because when you call a tech support line, you're not in a good mood.
Yeah, and, you know, they tell you you may have an hour wait, but then they play that obnoxious elevator music.
Yeah, we just play the radio show while you're waiting.
you get to actually hear you. So.
Yeah, no, that's not great, though. I feel bad that we have to make people wait, but you know what? It's just, I'm popular, and I take my time with every single caller.
Yes, you do.
Sometimes you hear the show hosts, in fact, when I do other people's shows, they make signs at me. They go, hurry, hurry, hurry.
Mm-hmm.
Quick. And you can only get like a line out. Well, you need to get a hard drive. Boom. That's all you get. I know. I want to take more time.
Yeah.
All right. All
So,
right. Who should I start with?
I
Who
think we should go to New York City. Dan has some data encryption concerns.
Oh, dear.
Or questions more so than concerns.
I am a big fan of data encryption, as you know.
Yes, you are.
Thank you, Ms. Sheffa. Hello, Dan, in New York City. Leo Laporte, the tech guy.
Hey, Leo, love your show. You're absolutely fantastic.
Thank
Thanks
you,
for
Dan.
everything.
Thank you.
So here's the deal. I got hit by a car last November.
Oh, I'm
5
sorry.
years ago. No, I'm fine. 5 years ago, I had a traumatic brain injury.
Ay, ay, ay.
Yeah.
Ay,
I
ay,
made it
ay.
through. I'm fine. But with all the crazy stuff that's going on in New York, I'm thinking, you know what? I want to encrypt all my data in case something happens to me so that nobody can ever see it.
So you don't want anybody, including your heirs, your significant other, or anybody, you just want that stuff to be untouchable.
Correct. And
Good.
I have my
Easy to do.
laptop encrypted. Right. I have my laptop encrypted with VeraCrypt. So
Perfect.
Even if I close the lid, then no one can open
Right.
it. And then I've got my hard drives encrypted with BitLocker. But my question is, I have a whole bunch of DVDs from decades with data on them, and I want to convert them to image files and then encrypt that hard drive. And I'm wondering what's the best way. Should I use ISOs?
Yes.
I've also got the Easy Creator from Roxio, which creates both GIs and ISOs.
Yeah, so you don't really care because no one following you will ever want or be able to get into it anyway. So do what's convenient for you. What you're doing is you're encrypting the contents of the DVD by copying it onto a hard drive in some form you can read later. So it doesn't matter. ISO is the common one, but GI is fine. So you import it, you encrypt it, you shred the DVD, and you know they actually make shredders for DVDs. You can run them through. Turns them into little shards of plastic. Or microwave them, yeah. It's probably not good for your microwave, you know. But it's fun. It's like a little fireworks show in there. That's what, if you watch the Hacker Show, that's what he does. In fact, it was a great scene. What was the name of it? Mr. Robot. There was a great scene early on, one of the early seasons, where suddenly he knows the FBI is coming. He's a hacker. He knows the FBI is coming. So he has only a few minutes. So he takes everything, all the hard drives out of the machine, takes everything, puts all the USB keys, puts them in the microwave, and they go pop, 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 which would work, but might probably damage your microwave. That's not and it could cause a fire and stuff. But it would work. He takes the SIMs out of his phone, pop, 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 pop. It's really a fun scene. So that's what, yeah. So if you shred those or burn them or somehow get rid of them so they can't be used, and then you've copied everything to a hard drive and you've encrypted the hard drive. You mentioned VeraCrypt. That's the kind of the gold standard for what we call full disk encryption. It's an open source program, and it encrypts it using well-known technologies that will scramble it. BitLocker does the same thing. Apple's File Vault does the same thing. As long as the only caveat is maybe some year, 1,000 years from now, they'll have powerful enough computers to unencrypt. That's the only caveat. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. I don't think you're worried about 1,000 years from now. You just don't want your kids or whoever to go through your stuff.
Right. Do I need to? Does it matter whether I use GI or ISO?
No, because it's up to you. Because you're the only person that's ever going to look at it. Once it's on the hard drive, and every bit is on the hard drive in whatever form,
okay.
Then you encrypt it. You just want to use a form that you can easily read because you have the key to unencrypt. And so whatever's convenient for you, it really doesn't matter. It would matter if you were saying, I want my future generations to see it, then I would say ISO. Right? Because that's an open standard. It's going to be the best supported format. But it doesn't. You can do it. Anything that you like, you do.
Okay, great.
Right?
Thank you so much.
Yeah. I wonder, though, it's an interesting question. Right now, we can't brute force it because of the mathematics are so difficult. It would take 1 trillion years if you use a good password and all that. But presumably 1,000 years from now, if somebody came across your hard drives, if they could read them, they might have the tool to decrypt it. But you don't care by then, do you?
No, I'm not going to be. I don't think I'll be. Well, hopefully, it might be around, but who knows?
You never know. If you're around, you can re-encrypt it using stronger technologies when those come along. Hey, it's a great question. Yeah, normally, people want to encrypt it to keep the government and law enforcement or prying eyes from it while they're alive. But you have an interesting point. Yeah, I just want this to disappear. It will look like random bits to anybody who looks at that hard drive. It'll be completely nothing.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea. Yeah.
Okay, great.
Thanks,
Since we're
Dan.
off the air, I'm the guy who sent you the Tesla hat, the comedian.
Thank you. Oh, Dan, it's nice to talk to you.
Nice to talk to you as well.
How's the career going? There's not a lot of comedy going on.
No, but published a Van Halen book, which is sold out.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, that's really cool. What's the name of it?
It's called Eruption in the Canyon. It's named after Eruption, his greatest solo. So it's Eruption in the Canyon.
Nice. And you're Dan Nyman, right? Is that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nyman, yeah. Yeah. So if you're a fan, check it out.
All right.
A friend of mine wrote it. So
Andrew Bennett, is that the book?
Mm-hmm.
So, and you're making good money on it, so you're not starving because you can't perform. You do a lot of corporate work, I know, Dan.
Exactly.
But I don't think anybody's having any events these days.
There's some virtual ones, actually, which have been paid.
Oh, cool. Churchill?
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah.
Yeah, virtual.
Virtual, not Churchill. Churchill is a kind of meeting.
Over Zoom.
Yeah, over Zoom. Good. It's a little weird, though, isn't it, doing comedy when you can't hear them laughing?
We tell everyone to unmute themselves.
Oh, perfect. Perfect. That's great. Well, it's great to hear from you. It's great to know you're around and things are going well. And I'm going to have to check out the Van Halen book. Is this complete? Amazing. Is this start with the brothers and then go through all the lead singer diseases and all of that?
Yeah, the author, he was filming and he lived up at Eddie's studio for a year.
Wow. So it's Laurel Canyon. Is it Laurel Canyon?
He lives in Coldwater Canyon.
Coldwater Canyon. That's awesome. Oh, so it's 2006. So that was oh my God, who was the lead singer then? Was it David Lee Roth?
He worked with Sammy and Al and Ed for 2 weeks in 2004, then came back and worked with them for a year to get ready for the reunion with David Lee Roth.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's incredible. It's all photos.
Oh, I gotta get this book. Awesome. Awesome.
Canyon.com.
Yeah, I see it. Very cool. Great to talk to you, Dan.
Thank you.
Have a good
likewise.
one.
Hope to see you soon.
All right.
Stay safe. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye
You too. Bye-bye. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Time for our car guy. He's a low rider. Sam, he is, because he drives an old Miata, which is about 2 feet off the ground. Sam Abuelsamid, he is the principal researcher at Guidehouse Insights. He does the best car podcast of all, Wheel Bearings, at wheelbearings.media. And I'm proud to say he's my car guy. The new Nissan Ariya is interesting. Now, there's somebody in the chat room saying, forget your Mustang Mach-E. The Ariya is hot. And the only reason we didn't look at the Nissan Leaf is because it uses this CHAdeMO charging.
Right.
But Nissan's changing their tune.
The Ariya is Nissan's next new EV. It was revealed. The production version was revealed earlier this week. We actually saw the concept version came out last year at the Frankfurt Motor Show, and it was actually at CES. We walked by it. It was right across from the Audi booth. I don't know if you caught it.
I was so busy looking at the Audis. I love those Audis.
Yeah, it was in between the Audis and the Ford booth. Actually.
I think I kind of remember it now.
It looked pretty much the same as the production version, but the concept was blue.
So because they're going to use the standard CCS charging that everybody else is going to use, that's really good news, isn't it?
Yeah, at least in North America and Europe. For Japan, they're sticking with CHAdeMO for now, because CHAdeMO is more popular in the Japanese market. But for cars coming to North America and Europe, they're going to get CCS charging and up to 130 kilowatt charging rates.
So that's good. That means they'll
charge much faster.
With the exception of Tesla, all the electric cars in the U.S. will have the same charging standard. Yep. So it's much more likely we're going to see more charging stations Of course, there's also be more congestion at the charging stations.
Yes.
So what do you think of it?
The number of chargers is increasing too. So
yeah, let's hope fast, because I suspect these new vehicles will be popular. What do you think of the Aria? Is it? Do you like it?
Yeah, I mean, it's fine. It's a typical compact crossover. It's about the same size as a Nissan Rogue or Honda CR-V, Toyota RAV4. So it's in that size class. And really, this vehicle in a lot of ways is very much the kind of vehicle that Ford was planning to build before they switched direction and switched over to building the Mach-E. It was more of a conventional, front-wheel drive electric crossover. Nothing wrong with that. But Ford decided they wanted to do something a little more exciting that would get the audience a little more thrilled and hopefully get them out to buy the thing. One feature that the Aria is going to have, will be the first Nissan in the U.S. market to have, is ProPilot 2.0, which is Nissan's level 2 partially automated system. And it's a new version of it. The current version that's on the Leaf and a bunch of other Nissans, you have to keep your hands on the wheel like you do with Tesla. ProPilot 2.0 will be a hands-free system.
Oh boy!
So there's a driver monitor system.
Oh, good. Okay.
On the screen behind me, you can see on top of the steering column, that's the infrared camera that's looking at the driver to make sure the driver is actually watching the road. And there's a trifocal front camera system, so it'll be geo-fenced just like Super Cruise and Active Drive Assist from Ford and a bunch of others. And also, you can only use it, when you're actually watching the road and on divided highways. So it'll be a much better system. The other thing I wanted to touch on this week was a new regulation that was recently passed. It was passed by the UNECE, the United Nations Economic Commission for Europe, which is actually a group of about 60 member countries that includes all the countries in Europe, many countries in Asia, Russia, Japan, South Korea are all members. And part of what they do is they have commonized vehicle safety regulations. So, here in the U.S., we have our Federal Motor Vehicle Safety Standards, which are very similar, but not exactly the same as what UNECE member countries do. But this new regulation that they passed is the first that covers partially automated driving systems. And they refer to it as automatic lane keeping systems. So it's like what we experienced with the GM Super Cruise, but this is for the next step up for level 3 systems. So what we experienced before was level 2, where you still have to watch the road and be ready to take over. Level 3 systems, you don't have to constantly supervise it, but you do have to occasionally take over control from the system. And so this is the first regulation that specifically covers those vehicles, and what they're saying is you have to have a driver monitor system like what most manufacturers, except for Tesla, are using. You have to geofence it, so it has to be limited to limited access highways. It's speed limited. You can only operate up to 60 kilometers an hour or 37 miles per hour because you're not only hands-free, but you also don't have to watch the road. And you also have to have a black box system, a data storage system in the vehicle that records a whole bunch more data than what we have today in vehicles. We have what are called event data recorders that when you get in a crash, they store some data, a little bit of data like your vehicle speed, acceleration, and so on. But these are going to store a lot more data about what was going on, when the system was operating. And unlike Tesla is known, when Tesla vehicles crash and people blame it on autopilot, Tesla stores some data on their vehicles, but they have very limited storage of how much is available, and it's in a proprietary format. Only Tesla can read that data. Mm-hmm. Nobody else can read that data. This new standard requires that it be in a standardized format, and it has to be accessible by standard diagnostic tools through the OBD2 port.
Oh, interesting. Is that
so
for
regulators,
insurance reason or regulator reasons, or both? Maybe, huh?
all of the above. For insurance reasons, for for crash investigators, researchers, to be able to understand what was going on with the system at the time of a crash.
Right. Very interesting. So you think this will be safer?
Yeah, absolutely. Because you've got these limitations on what these systems are allowed to do for now, at least. And they've said that, they're going to continue to come back and revisit the regulation as the systems mature and improve. They'll come back and they'll, do things like update the maximum speed capabilities, where it's allowed to operate, things like that, as they gather more data about how the systems are operating.
So and sharing this data with regulators will help stimulate improved software too, I would imagine.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And the fact that you have to be able to read it. Part of the problem with Tesla's approach is Tesla and this goes for any manufacturer. If you've got data in a proprietary format, the manufacturer has somewhat of a conflict of interest, in protecting that data.
That's why it's in a proprietary format. Exactly.
So by having it in a standard format, it's still encrypted, but it's in a standard format. This way, we should be able to gather more information and understand better how these systems are actually operating.
Nice. So Tesla, don't they say that they're going to have fully autonomous level 5 cars this year?
No. Well, he said that, but that's not true. It's not going to happen.
I can't even say it with a straight face.
No, it's he just because he says it doesn't mean it's going to happen. And in fact, it's never. The cars they build today will never be level 5 capable because they don't have anything to keep the sensors clean.
Right.
To be level 5, it's got to be able to keep the sensors clean so you can drive in any conditions. And they don't do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, so 2 things to keep an eye on is the new self-driving capabilities in this new Nissan, and I'm going to keep my Mustang Mach-E reservation. It sounds like.
Yeah, the Aria goes on sale in North America late 2021. So it's about a year and a half away.
It's a moot point then. Sam Abuelsamid, he's my car guy. Wheel Bearings is a great podcast, and he joins us every week. Wheelbearings.media.
Thanks, Leo.
Thank you. Good. I appreciate the fact that I don't have to change my mind. And the Audi E series, those are nice, the e-trons, but they're not. Mm-hmm. They're not. The Mach-E is pretty innovative, I feel like.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff. The Aria is going to have a lot of the same capabilities as the Mach-E. And most other new cars for that matter. It's going to have full over-the-air software update capabilities and the ability to do a lot of other things too.
Good. Sam, always a pleasure.
Always a pleasure too.
Thank you for being here, and we'll see you next week.
Have a great day.
All right. Take care.
Bye.
I got to mention our fine sponsors. Speaking of LastPass, this would be a good time to talk about LastPass. They are the sponsors of this facility. As you know, we're in the LastPass studios, but they're also a must-have for anybody who wants to make sure that their employees are doing the right thing with their passwords. Now, we use LastPass at home. I've been using it for 12 years, I think. But we started using it at work about 5 years ago because I realized that while I'm good with passwords, I'm careful. I use strong password hygiene, and LastPass helps me do that. The employees probably, if I don't use LastPass, they're going to make up bad passwords. They're going to reuse them. They're going to put them on Post-it notes. That's just normal. And if you use LastPass at home, why aren't you using it at work, right? LastPass Enterprise is designed to keep your business safe. Your employees have all the keys to the kingdom, all the passwords to the checking accounts and the databases and the customer records and the websites. Your IT department has a big job. More devices, more applications, and now remote workforces where employees are sitting in their jammies. And, who knows what they're doing? Plus, new threats, new regulations. Strong security is tough. It gets tougher all the time. But fortunately, LastPass is here to give your IT department strong security and give your employees something that's easy to use. That's really important, because if it's not easy, they won't do it. LastPass lets you secure every entry point, from shadow IT to apps to mobile and cloud services. Their access solutions give you visibility and control over every access point in your organization. Employees can access a variety of applications and devices, leading to a lack of visibility. You don't know what they're doing until you start using LastPass Identity. That offers a simple integrated view across all access, all authentication tasks, so they can see, your IT department can see who's accessing what, when, and where. That's so important. And it doesn't slow your employees down. LastPass has single sign-on. Employees love that. It's easier and more secure. Multi-factor authentication that adds contextual information to the fingerprint or Face ID. Its authentication solutions let you understand user behavior better and to adapt authentication based on the user. Reduce friction, prevent thefts. It's a miracle. It's a combination that's awesome. And, of course, LastPass has always used best practices. Steve Gibson verified that exactly 10 years ago. AES 256-bit encryption, PBKDF2 to make it hard to brute force. They never transmit your password. They never have access to it. It stays on device. Your data is only decrypted on device, and it works everywhere, literally you are. It's the best. Secure your business. Give your IT department the tools they need to keep your business safe. Visit LastPass.com/twit to find out how they can help you and your business stay productive and secure no matter where your employees are. LastPass.com/twit. We thank them so much for their support of the TWiT Podcast Network and the Tech Guy Show. But it's better than digging a ditch. Let's go to Oskaloosa, Iowa. Kyle is on the line. Hi, Kyle.
Hey, Leo.
Welcome.
Hey, got this deal here.
Yes,
I
sir.
keep a home theater PC, and it's got 5 4-terabyte drives in it. Each one, I have 2 mirror backup drives that I rotate through each quarter for each of the drives in there, so a total of 10 drives.
Yikes.
And
how are they connected? Is it just a regular PC with a lot of drives on the SATA bus, or are you doing something special with it? Yeah, it's just a bunch of drives. But my external, I've got 10 external drives that I rotate through to mirror each drive. Yeah, I got it. Yeah. So you have a JBOD, they call it. JBOD, just a bunch of disks.
Yeah. Well,
the problem with that system is...
my problem is my backup.
Yeah.
What happened to me, I keep 2 sets. One set's 3 months old, one set's 6 months old. At the end of the quarter, I pull the 6-month-old drives out, wipe the drive, and back up the changes from the home theater PC. Well, I started that this quarter, and the second drive I plugged in, I went to format it, and it sat there for about an hour and then errored out.
Oy. So much for that backup.
Well, it was an erase. It's one I meant to erase to put the new backup.
Yeah, I understand. But honestly, how do you know that's not happening to your backups too? So here's what I would suggest doing.
Here's what my problem is.
Okay, what's your problem?
When I went to format it, it flipped my 4-terabyte hard drive from a GUID 4-terabyte and flipped it to an MBR drive with just over 2 terabytes.
Yeah. So you have to reformat it with a GUID, a GPT.
Yeah, but I can't find anything that will do it. Windows won't touch it. SpinRite won't touch it. It just keeps erroring out. I need a tool to make it flip back.
You can't use the disk part tool built into Windows 10 to make a GPT hard drive?
I tried disk management. I even tried the setup utility from Windows to erase the partitions and set up a new one, and it won't do it.
So MBR, Master Boot Record, goes back to the good old days. when we had a BIOS. GUID, or GPT, uses is for EFI. It's for the new extensible firmware interface. Right. And it has, as you've noted, the remarkable ability to handle drives bigger than 2 terabytes. Nowadays, that's kind of a must. Yeah. So Windows has a way to do this. If I'm looking at a Microsoft doc, I'll put in the show notes, I'll put the link. But there's a tool that you can run from the command line, mbr2, number 2, gpt.exe. Guess what that does? It turns an MBR drive into a GPT drive. So you can do that from the command line, but you can also do it using the Windows interface, and that's why I'm puzzled, because that's from that storage manager that you were talking about. You have to delete the partition, or the volume. You have to start all over. And then
one partition, I can't. For some reason, it won't touch the.
Well, you have a damaged. Then that's the sign that you have a damaged drive. That's probably what happened. Now, I'm going to tell you the right way to do this. You're making this really unnecessarily complicated. So, first of all, discard that drive, because the fact that you can't convert it to GPT, that's built into the disk manager in Windows 10. There's literally a convert to GPT menu item. If you can't do that and you can't delete that partition, it's hammer time. It's time to take that drive and bring it to the drive farm in the sky, because there's something wrong with it. And so it can't write to those partitions. It can't modify them. There's something wrong with it. But your whole system is prone to failure. It's problematic. It's more complicated for you, and it's problematic. What you really want to do is use RAID, redundant array of independent disks, and make a RAID 5 array. You could do it with those 4 disks, or 5. You have 10, so do it with 5 disks. Now, you won't get all 20 terabytes. You'll get about a third less. You'll get about 16 terabytes. But any one drive dies, you pop it out, put a new one in, it rebuilds it. And what I would suggest, I think the easiest way to do this is with a network-attached storage. That's what most people use for home theater PCs. They don't try to put the drives in the PC itself. They put it on the network, which is fast enough nowadays to watch any movie in high def, 4K even, as long as you have a decent network. So I would suggest going out and get something like a 5-disc Synology NAS. Actually get 2 of them. 2 5-disc Synology NASs. One of them is your main device. But I know you're concerned about backup. So automatically, you have the second one, and it will and in fact, this is what I do, so I know all about it. I keep one at home. That's my home theater stuff. I've got tons of storage on it because I got even bigger disks. I think it's 30 terabytes or 40 terabytes on there. And then I have a duplicate Synology NAS at work. And I use Hyper Backup, which is a tool that comes with Synology. Any network-attached storage company will have this, QNAP, anybody. But Synology does this very well. I say sync my home drive with the one at work. And in the background, over time, it takes a while. In fact, the first time you might want to manually copy it while they're sitting side by side. Save yourself some time. But then any changes made to the drive at home will be automatically backed up. You won't have to think about it. You won't have to rotate, because both of them will be in a RAID, a redundant. You can even make a 2-disc redundancy. And if you're worried about, then you're really safe. 2 drives would have to die. Actually, 3 drives would have to die out of the 5 for you to lose any data. This is much, much easier. This is it's automatic. You don't have to think about it. It's always backing up. If you want, you could put our sponsor iDrive on the one that's at work or somewhere else. You could back that up to the cloud. Now you have 3 copies of everything. You're never going to lose another movie. Now, it's expensive, but you've already spent a lot of money, and the problem is you're spending a lot of time kind of figuring out, managing this complicated JBOD system. I love JBOD, just a bunch of disks. That's an actual technical term that's used in the industry. RAID is redundant array of independent disks, and there's different versions of RAID. Sometimes I means inexpensive. I think when it originally started, they really wanted to say inexpensive, because what RAID was designed for mission-critical enterprise situations, but you didn't want to spend the money on enterprise drives, which were very expensive. You wanted to just use off-the-shelf consumer hard drives. And RAID, there's RAID 0, which my friend Alex calls a scary RAID, because that basically spreads your data across the drives, gives you all that, you wanted 20 terabytes, well, you get all 20 terabytes, but any one drive dies, the whole thing fails. That's not good. That's scary RAID. There's RAID 1 where they're mirrored. You could even do that. You could have 5 drives, actually 10 drives in RAID 1, and they'd be mirrored, automatically copying each other, so you don't have to think about it. But my preference would be a higher level RAID. There's 5, there's even 6. You can investigate it. And a network-attached storage solution will do that. It means if any drive dies, you just take another one and swap it in. And if you're backing them up, as I am, so I have a RAID 5 array at home with 5 disks, a RAID 5 array here with 5 disks, they're automatically synchronized. Actually, they're not even synchronized. They're automatically backing up. I don't want it synchronized. I don't want files deleted at home to be deleted at work. I want everything I ever had to be at work. And it's a perfect way of doing that. And then add cloud, and you'll never lose any data again. Well, hey, how are you? Time to talk about tech. Leo Laporte here. I'm the tech guy, your tech guy, really, here to help you at 8888 Ask Leo. That's the phone number, 888-827-5536. Website is techguylabs.com. Everything that goes on here is recorded, dutifully recorded by our internet scribe, James DeRuvo. You don't have to write a thing down. Just go to the website. There's no sign up. There's no charge. If you have a browser and you have a computer, go to techguylabs.com. It will all be there. And if you don't have a computer and you don't have a browser, I have no idea why you listen. Maybe just because it's like relaxing to listen to a lot of stuff that you don't care about, right? A lot of times we listen or we watch TV, we listen to the radio, and it's stuff we care about. It gets you anxious, gets you a little anxiety. No anxiety here. This is the toy store. Doesn't matter. Well, it kind of does matter. One of the reasons I love it is because it is the toy store, but also these toys kind of change our lives. So it sort of matters, right? 8888 Ask Leo. No stomach aches here. TechGuyLabs.com, the website. Line 3, Mark in Costa Mesa. Hello, Mark.
Hey, Leo. How are you?
I am great. How are you?
Fantastic. I called you a couple of years ago to ask for help on my podcast, and I'm on episode 82 now, and things are going great. You did me a solid on that. Thank you.
82. That's fantastic. What's your show about?
Script writing.
Oh, are you a script writer?
I am.
Oh, see? Man, that's great. I have to listen to it. What's the name of it?
Plot Points Podcast.
Plot Points Podcast.
Yeah.
See, I think a lot of people think they could write a script, right? And they got that script in the drawer and all that stuff. And so I think it's probably a good idea to listen to an actual screenwriter to see what's up. But I think it's fascinating. We all watch movies. We all love movies. We all watch, episodic fictional TV. And so I think we all feel like we could do it.
It's a golden age for television right now.
Isn't it amazing? Yeah.
I also teach screenwriting, so I run across those people a lot, but I certainly quickly disabuse them of that that thought.
What's the key ability? What's the thing that if you don't have this, forget it?
It's funny. Programmers and lawyers do best in my workshop.
Oh, interesting.
Because they're task oriented. No programmer sits down and says, "I think I'll write a subroutine without a program," unless there's something, same thing with lawyers.
Plus, we're used to sitting at the keyboard and writing for long periods of time, both lawyers and coders.
Yeah.
And we're driven. So
film and television is about structure, but if you come to it with plot, you're good with plot. You have to learn character. If you come to it with character, you have to learn plot. That's why you have to take a class, because the key is structure, though. That's the one thing. If you can't get structure, give it up. So. Yeah. There are. It's fun. Do you ever break down scripts as you're doing your show? No. You know what? Gosh, Leo, I don't know. My show used to be an hour, which we did. We used to do something called the first 10 and break down the first 10 or 15 pages of a script. Yeah. But it got to be too much to handle to do the editing, the post-production. And it's a lot of work. Yeah. Oh, as you know. Almost as hard as writing a movie. And I love tech, so I don't mind doing stuff like that. Yeah. But anyway, and then the target for a podcast is 20 to 25 minutes. There's just not enough time to.
I make mine 2 hours, and nobody ever complains. Sometimes we go to 3.
You're a genius, though.
Well, wait, look at Joe Rogan. How long is Joe's? He does, what, 2 or 3 a week? They're 3 hours long?
Yeah.
He's the highest paid podcaster in the world. So I wouldn't limit yourself. It's more a question of time. The difference is you get paid for your screenwriting. Podcasting you do for fun.
I do it for love. Yes,
yeah.
That's true. Yeah. Anyway, I don't have the bandwidth to do an hour show anymore.
I understand. Yeah.
Anyway, but I'm involved also in martial arts, and there's a organization that obviously canceled their conference this year, and they're asking me to help them do an awards conference. And I, this thing is moving so fast. I don't even know if I know anymore. I mean, Facebook Live, you have Facebook, you can do Zoom with Facebook, you can do so much. And the thing is there equipment or a better, I mean, we may have up to 200 or 300 attendees. How would I handle anything like that? This may be too big for your show. I don't know.
No, it's a good question. I think a lot of people are interested in this, whether they're teaching classes or just doing events. Do you want the attendees to be visible and talk back?
That's a possibility. They're talking about potentially recording, like they give away awards, and so they're potentially talking about giving the awards people do an acceptance speech, record it, send it to us.
Well, that's different. That's easy to do. I mean, the people watching live, do you want them to interact with you?
Probably not.
It's like a show.
Yeah.
So the easiest way to do this, by far, would be to use, you mentioned Facebook Live. I would prefer YouTube Live, because with Facebook Live, you have to have a Facebook account. But everybody, you don't need a Google account to watch YouTube Live.
Oh, okay.
YouTube Live's very easy. You essentially, do you have a YouTube channel?
Of course.
Yeah, and I'm sure the group does too. You need to have a number of subscribers to the channel. I can't remember what it is. It might be as many as 1,000, which is a lot.
Wow.
But you can stream it. That's if you want to stream live. Just go check that out, YouTube Live. I think that's you press a button. You can do it from any computer. If you're going to do it from a computer, there are a number of programs that will let you do this. The one the gamers use, so that you have a picture of them and you're watching the game and stuff, is called OBS Studio. It stands for Online Broadcasting System. That's free and open source and has a lot of support. There's a commercial program that we use here because all of our hosts now have gone home for the TWiT podcast network. They're all doing it from their home, and they want to have multi-camera support and stuff. They use a Mac program called Ecamm. You have to have a Mac, ECAMM.
I'm a PC guy.
Okay, so that's no good. OBS is available at PCs and Macs, so I think OBS is probably the right choice for you. It will go straight to whatever you want it to go to. You can add effects. You can add in videos, from another source. So if you have acceptance speeches, you can do that. Are you going to do this? Where are you going to do this from? A studio?
Yeah, I have access to a couple studios, being in film.
Right.
And one of them would be perfect for this, so I'd have to approach the guy. But yeah, probably a studio, maybe somewhere, because I have an old PC. I have a Windows 7 PC, so I don't think I'm going to do it from my house. But yeah.
Yeah, you want something probably a little more horsepower. But if they have a studio, I don't think that's going to be an issue at all. We're going to put a link in the show notes to the support page for YouTube live streaming. And it talks about the encoders and so forth. The other advantage of doing it on YouTube is after you're done, it's then saved as a YouTube video. So people who can't be there for the live event could watch it later.
That's fantastic. By the way, your chat guys, people, I should say, are fantastic. So, shout out to everybody on chat. I've been watching the stream as the shows progress.
They're great. irc.twit.tv. In fact, they've got a lot of ideas for you. One of the products they're talking about, which is very interesting, allows you to stream to everywhere is called Restream. It's at restream.io. So you make one stream, it goes to YouTube, Twitch, Facebook, all automatically. It all depends on, kind of what you want. I would talk with a studio about what kind of video capabilities they have, what kind of hardware they have, because they'll have some solutions too. And of course, we use hardware switches. There's some really interesting switches out there. For instance, the ATEM from Blackmagic, ATEM Mini Pro has built-in streaming. So it's a switcher for 4 cameras or 4 inputs. So you could have one of them be a computer where you're playing back your video. Then you could have 3 other cameras, so you could have multiple presenters. You can switch it live just like a TD and a television station would. But you can also plug it into the Ethernet and say, stream this to my YouTube channel. And boom, you're done.
ATEM, ATEM?
ATEM from Blackmagic Design. The ATEM Pro has this streaming capability built in. You can do it in software, but it's all built into one little box. And I think that's $350 cheap.
Okay, all right.
So there's lots of ways to do this. I would also recommend my friend Alex Lindsay.
Okay.
He's doing something very interesting. If you go to his YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/AlexLindsay, he does this professionally. He works at a company called 090 Media, and he does this for everybody from, they used to do it for President Obama. He's done it, for millions of viewers for some of the biggest organizations in the world. And he, every morning, from about 7 a.m. Pacific to 10 a.m. Pacific, has a live Zoom stream with several hundred people in it where they answer questions like this. And these are pros, filmmakers, probably people editors, Hollywood pros, people in this business. He calls it his office hours. You can watch them after the fact. He records 1 hour of it, the 7 to 8 o'clock hour, and puts it on YouTube. But he streams it from YouTube live via Zoom. And if you're interested, you can even join the Zoom meeting and ask questions. So he's my expert. So I'll tell you the things I know. But if you want to go, if you want to get a higher authority, Alex is great. I mention Alex a lot.
No, that's wonderful. That's what I was looking for, because I still don't have my arms around this yet. I don't know what.
Well, really, what you want to do, everybody's doing. So your timing couldn't be better. The only issue is some of the equipment, the gear you might want to be like this ATEM Mini Pro, which, by the way, is $600. I gave you the wrong price.
Okay.
I have the one without the streaming, the ATEM Mini. Love it. It was only $300. But that is hard to get because everybody and their brother is suddenly doing this.
Oh, yeah.
So they were back ordered. They may not be now. A lot of the hardware, lighting and stuff. But if you've got an existing studio, that's going to make it much easier.
Yeah, I think I do. I think I can tap this guy who's bugged me for a couple of years over these.
Perfect. He'll have all the stuff probably, or at least have enough of it to get started, and then you'll just add this streaming component to it, most likely.
Great idea. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
Well,
have
Leo,
fun.
I've been following you for decades. You're the man.
Well, Mark, I really appreciate it. And again, give us another plug for your podcast.
Plot Points Podcast. It's on Apple, and I use Libsyn.
I see you use Libsyn, yeah. Plot Points Podcast. Pleasure talking to you, Mark.
Yeah, same to you, Leo. I don't listen every week, but when I do, I'm always amazed. So thank you for being there. It must be very daunting to have to be a tech wizard for everything in the planet, including cars and phones and everything else.
I love it. Are you kidding? And, the real key is to know that you can't answer every question, not feel like you have to. Just do the best you can.
I've never heard you stumped yet, Leo, so damn you.
I have a good memory and fast Googling.
All right. Well,
nice to talk to you, Mark. Thank you for the kind words. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. Chris Marquardt, photo guy, coming up in just a little bit. We're working on our photo assignments, but he's going to have some digital photography tips, too. Mike in Denver, Colorado is next. Hi, Mike.
Hey, Leo. Thank you so much for taking my call. Long-time listener, first-time caller.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you so much. I have a couple of comments. I don't know if you have any cool Colorado stories. I'm sure you do.
Yeah, my son was at CU Boulder. He loved it.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so beautiful out here.
Yeah, I love Colorado. Yeah, it's gorgeous.
Yeah.
Never lived there, but because Henry was in Boulder, I went there, quite a few times while he was out there for those 4 years. Had a great time. It's a beautiful, beautiful state.
It really is. It really is. And, I have to say, I'm 24 and I really appreciate how your show really relates to the millennial age group because
does it?
Being a young, it does.
As an old guy, I appreciate that.
Yeah.
My son is the same age. He thinks I'm pretty cool too, so I guess I'm doing all right.
And also, I have to say, your studio there in Pasadena is one of the coolest studios I've seen. I'm big into radio myself, and apart from maybe like Dan Patrick or Coast to Coast AM studio, yours is really cool. So
you're seeing the video? It's not in Pasadena though; it's in Petaluma. So you're seeing the video. I was wondering how you knew. You've not been to the studio though, have you?
No, I watch on Twitch actually.
In the old days, before COVID, we would have studio audiences, and so when we do reopen, whenever we do, I invite you to come out and hang out with me.
Wow, that'd be awesome.
It's fun. I'll give you a tour. Yeah.
Wow, thank you so much.
Sure.
I had a couple of comments today. First of all, on the video game streaming site Mixer. So not a lot of people know about Mixer, but Mixer is a video game streaming site that about 6 months ago tried to take over the monopoly on the streaming wars for video games and brought in very two prominent video game streamers, Ninja and I'm forgetting the other one, but Ninja. And
was it Shoji? I can't remember his name either. But they spent $20 million on Ninja Shroud. That's it. Yeah. On $20 million on Ninja alone.
Yeah, it was actually $30 million.
Crazy.
It was actually $30 million contract. They brought Ninja in. They thought that it was going to change the whole streaming monopoly for Mixer, and it ended up, in my opinion, single-handedly killing Mixer.
Do you think it did? Because I think Microsoft killed Mixer because they weren't making any money.
Right.
But I guess it could have been part of the reason they weren't making money is because they paid these guys so much money to bring their act over, and maybe they didn't bring enough subscribers too. But just Mixer never gained a big audience.
Mm-hmm. And they thought that paying Ninja $30 million it would change everything. It really didn't make a difference.
Yeah.
People care about the content and the quality. But back to the story. So Mixer's going to be shutting down this coming week, July 22nd.
Right.
And it's interesting because when these big companies come in and they try to get involved in the video game wars, like when Amazon bought Twitch, or it just kind of messes everything up, I think.
But Amazon didn't ruin Twitch. Twitch is still going well. Right?
Right.
Microsoft bought Mixer. I don't know if they ruined it. I'm not sure what happened. They used it for their Xbox game streaming, which was really cool. But Mixer wasn't huge when they bought it, right? And I don't think they were able to turn it around. So it's kind of too bad. But Twitch, Amazon has just kept hands off, just given them the backbone to do it. And I think Twitch is as strong as it can be. So what's weird is now Facebook wants to do gaming. And I think you're in a good example, actually. And I'm going to ask you, Mike, because I think part of the problem is the people who follow these, and I presume you watch Twitch a lot. Are you a Twitch guy?
I do, yeah. I play video games, yeah.
You're not really influenced by, it's Facebook, it's got to be good. In fact, in some ways, that's a negative. You're influenced by who's on, what the personalities are. Apparently, Ninja wasn't a big enough personality to pull people away from Twitch to Mixer, not in any great number. Howard Stern brought a lot of people to Sirius when he moved over there. I know that Spotify's hoping Joe Rogan, they're giving him $100 million, will pull people over to Spotify. So these big stars sometimes can do that, but you do that at your risk, because especially with young guys like you, because you're not attached, right? It's not the same.
I'm not. And it's interesting you make that point with Howard Stern. I have always been really big into radio, and I call Coast to Coast AM a lot, but the thing is, it's interesting because, like, when we look at the demographics of radio, which that's what the age group the advertisers are going for, they're not targeting young people anymore, whereas 20 years ago, this was,
I think we've given up on young people.
Yeah, that was their main demographic.
Yeah.
Once
iPods became dominant, once Spotify took over, I think music radio has just kind of said, I don't know what we're going to do. Now there's podcasts, if you like talk radio. I think radio, my company, iHeart, has decided that the next big thing is podcasting.
Right.
Right? And streaming.
And they're thinking about eliminating the AM band altogether and moving just to FM and podcasting. And I think that would be a bad move because, not a lot of young people listen. It all started with me way back when I was a kid. I listened to Radio Disney on AM, and AM was it was like a utopia back then.
I know.
For young people.
I grew up on AM radio, not just for your generation, my generation.
Right.
AM radio was where it was happening. Now it just seems old-fashioned.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of sad.
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, I got to run, Mike, because I have to go do Chris Marquardt, the photo guy. It's a pleasure talking to you. Call again, okay?
Thanks so much just for talking to me,
My
Leo.
pleasure, Mike. All right, take care. He's the ninja of digital photography, ladies and gentlemen. Time for our photo sensei, Chris Marquardt at sensei.photo. Hello, Chris.
Hey, how is it going today?
It's going great. Every week, Chris joins us to help us get better pictures. You got me in real trouble last week mentioning the Canon R5.
Oh, if I hadn't mentioned it, someone else would have. You would have come across it for sure.
It's a pretty camera. But, I'm also going more in the direction of simplicity. Like, not a lot of lenses. I'm trying, my Leica Q is a very nice, very compact camera, fixed lens. So I'm stuck with the way it is.
I mean, define a good camera. What is a good camera? There's good cameras for certain people, and cameras that might work for you might not work for me, and vice versa.
And nowadays, really, we carry a great camera with us in our smartphones. So,
we do.
Most of my best pictures of late have been smartphone pictures, which is depressing considering how much I've spent on fancy camera equipment. What do you want to talk about today?
Well, it's summer, the sun is out, it's warm, and we have a lot of light, and where light is, there's shadow. So I want to talk a bit about the aesthetics of shadows. And
fun.
And shadows come in all sorts of sizes and and shapes and hardnesses, for lack of a better word.
Yeah, how hard-edged the shadows are.
Even if you look at texture, like on an animal, on fur, on your pet, on the bark of a tree, even that is defined by shadows and light and the play between light and shadows, right? So shadow is always that dark area where something's blocking the light that's falling on it. That's the simplest definition. And we have shadows that are hard-edged. That's typically shadows that come directly from the sun. From any point light source, we have softer shadows. That's from overcast days or bigger light sources. Like if you have a bare light bulb in your room, that'll cast a hard shadow. If you point that around against a wall, you make it bigger, so you create a softer shadow. So that's kind of the basics of shadows. And just by looking at the size of the light source, you can predict the type of shadow that you'll get. So for portraits, you typically want softer shadows. For more gritty photos, you might want a harder type of shadow.
Sometimes the shadow itself is the photo, right? It's
the shadow can be the subject in a photo.
Yeah.
A shadow can add a graphical element to a photo. It can act like a duplicate of the subject,
right?
But in a different shape.
This is kind of related to the reflections conversation we've had in the past.
Yes. And especially when it's hard shadows, I often like to think of the shadow as being part of the subject. So when the shadow is not the subject, but you have a subject, you have a subject in a photo, you want to place it somewhere, right? You want to decide where does it go in the photo. And as soon as there is a very distinct shadow, I often tend to treat it like part of the subject. So I include it in the composition. I don't cut it off, or I give it the same kind of careful consideration that I do with a subject in a photo. So where do I move it? Do I give it space and so on? I guess it's a radio show, but I've put together a little gallery of pictures that I like on Flickr. Not my pictures by others, but you can put a gallery together of some of your favorite shots, and I think we can link to that in the show notes so people can get a bit of a better idea of what we're talking about. Because, I mean, there's, for example, that second picture with these very parallel lines that are shadows cast from forks.
But it's so abstract that it takes a while to even figure out what you're looking at. But it's beautiful.
Exactly. It's so graphical. It's so strict in its composition, and it's so simple because all you need to take this photo is a bunch of repeating patterns that cast shadows next to each other, and you get these very industrial kind of looking photo.
Now, the photographer in this, Ottavio Bellini, obviously was set this up. I mean, this wasn't something he ran across.
Nah, this didn't just happen.
He put some paper down, 3 forks. What kind of light did he put shining through the forks? Is this a very bright, harsh light, or?
It's a very point light source. Yeah. It's a small point light source. Okay. It could be a small flashlight. This, honestly, I think it might just be the sun, the sky.
Oh, interesting. Could be outside.
If the sun is out, that's the kind of shadows you'll get. Very hard edged.
Yeah.
And a very low sun makes very long shadows. We know that, right? The inclination of the sun in the sky makes for the length of the shadows. So, looking at that photo, you can kind of reverse engineer where the sun must have been, and it was probably sometime around the evening. We can't really tell from the color of the photo because it's a black and white photo, but the length of the shadows gives us an idea that this is probably an evening photo.
You have a picture of a baby, Dave DeMarco's picture of an infant. There's very little shadow. It's a very soft shadow.
That's the next thing. We're looking at a very it's a sleeping baby, but the light comes from the right side, and it's a bigger light source. You can tell because around the cheeks, the light wraps around the head of the child, around the cheeks and the nose and the forehead, and it's a very soft edge on that shadow. So that is very likely some window light, light from a big window shining at it. No harsh light source, no direct sun. So you kind of can often reverse engineer, find out what light source was at play here, and that's a very typical kind of portraiture light.
I love it.
The soft light just suits the baby. It just looks nice.
We will put a link in the show notes, as you mentioned. It's tfttf.com/shadow gallery, but we'll put a direct link to the Flickr. This is one of the things you can do on Flickr. We love Flickr. It's a photo sharing site. You can make your own galleries of pictures from other Flickr users, and it's very useful for illustrating points like this. It's great. Another thing you can do with Flickr, our photo assignment.
Yay!
What are we doing today? This month, I should say.
Well, it's still up for probably around 3 weeks, so people still have time to participate in the paper assignment. We have paper as the topic, whichever way you want to interpret that, and put it up on Flickr.
Do some shadows with the paper might be interesting.
That might be a good additional bonus round. Yep.
Yeah. The way we do this is you take the picture. You can take them with any camera you want. We don't judge on the camera. We judge on the photograph. So take the picture. A lot of camera phone submissions. Find one you like that illustrates that concept. It has to be a new one of paper. We don't tell you what that means. You just figure it out for yourself. Upload it to Flickr. It's free if you're not already a member, flickr.com. And then tag it. You can tag things on Flickr, which is you must and should do. Chris is big on giving the photo a name, and so I encourage you to do that. But also tag it with TG Paper for Tech Guy Paper, and then submit it to the Tech Guy group. That way Renee Silverman, our model, will say, oh, yeah, this is a submission for the month's assignment paper. And she'll put that in a special gallery. Chris will review it in a couple, 3 weeks, pick 3 of his favorites. There's no prize. It's not a competition. I've seen people call it a contest. It's not. The only reward is getting your picture out there and having it be seen by others in the Tech Guy group. And, of course, Chris will pick 3 to talk about in 3 weeks. Chris is doing great photo training, kind of critiques, workshops, information. He used to do this on the road, can't travel, so he's doing it online. What an opportunity to get some instruction from one of the best, sensei.photo, SENSEI.photo. Thank you, Chris. Have a great week. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, Leo.
Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. More calls right after this. Really love these pictures. It's very inspiring when you look at them because it makes you go, oh, I could do that. That's what I actually love about this segment is, I could do some stuff with shadows. That would be fun.
That's what I'm hoping to achieve here. Yep.
Yeah. Really neat stuff. I'm aware of them. It's just like reflections, but I think it might be like this one is great because I can see he was out and about and he was taking
what I
pictures
love
of
about
cars.
this?
Yeah.
What I love about this is the first of all the shadow is the subject,
right.
And second of all, he's playing with how the trailer bends and distorts it, and that's just wonderful. And then it has a reflection in it as well, so it's a double.
So he was at a car show and there to take pictures of cars, which are great. But he saw this, and credit to the photographer because he had the eye to say, oh, and actually it's Anna Ekman. Oh, that's a nice shot. And she got, probably a better shot than she got all day with this really fun shadow photo. The other way that you've done something is by faves on Flickr. She's got 185 faves. So that means a lot of people saw it. And she was at a car exhibition in Bilustalling, which is, I don't know where that is. Where's Kill? Is that looks like Germany, but I don't.
Well, Stalling is not a German name. Might be Swedish.
There you go.
Norwegian.
Yeah, Ekman, of course.
Somewhere up
Swedish.
There. Somewhere up there.
Isn't that cool? Chris, always inspiring. Thank you, sir.
All right. See you in a week from now.
All right. Take care.
Until then, take care.
Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. 8888. Ask Leo. Oh, man, you're taking us back in time with this one, Professor Laura, our musical director, Diana in Roseburg, Oregon. Thanks for hanging on, Diana. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy.
Hi, Leo. It's good hearing from you.
Well, it's good to hear from you. What can I do to help you today?
Well, I had, several years ago, you settled this problem for me.
Oh, good.
A cat jumped on my keyboard and flipped everything on the screen upside down.
Whoa! And we figured it out?
Yes, you did. And I wrote it on the back of my Windows 7 book, and I can't find that book anyplace.
If the cat ever jumps on your keyboard again...
I'll kill it.
No.
No, I'm 80 years old. She'll go before me.
What is it about cats? They just, I guess because we're spending so much time staring at, and probably from the cat's point of view, caressing this keyboard, the cat says, no, that should be me.
That's true.
Yeah.
But
so
she missed my lap and got...
she jumped up. Cats love keyboards. I actually saw a programmer put a picture on Instagram of how he solved this. He got a special plexiglass kind of tray to put over his keyboard so his hands could reach under it, but the cat couldn't get under it. And on top of the tray, he put another keyboard so the cat could go and sit on that keyboard.
Well, that was a smart action. That's great.
So you can always call me. You don't have to write it down, Diana. You can always call me. This is a weird keystroke combination. I don't know why they offer this in Windows, except I think it probably has to do with some Windows PCs that you can flip the screen around. And so being able to rotate it upside down is handy. So you hit the control, you hold the control and the alt key.
Okay.
And then usually pressing the up arrow will fix this. But you can try the other arrows too. In fact, it's kind of fun. Play with the different arrows. So the cat must have put one paw. Either it's a very smart cat or just it was bad luck. It's funny that she's done it twice now, though, I have to say.
It was a he. So
he. Yeah, well, they're the worst, right? No, they can be mean.
Oh, especially if I'm a woman and he's a male and You're still trying to rule the roost, more or less.
Oh, man. Yeah, we have cats. My wife is a cat lover. In fact, our doormat says, don't come in if you don't like cats. And I even have a T-shirt which she bought me that says, real men love cats. Okay. Maybe real men love the women who love cats would be more appropriate.
Oh, I think that's great. So I know I'm 80 years old, and I belong to veterans groups and everything. And we get to talk, and even the men talk about their cats.
Oh, I love kitties. We have two, Samantha and Paris. And Paris is a little neurotic, a little needy. She's one of those cats that goes out and then immediately says, let me in again. And then 5 minutes later goes out and wants to be in again. But that's okay. We love her.
Yeah, well, I have one cat that does that same thing.
Yep.
Oh, I close the door, then it decides it wants to come back.
That's so annoying. Well, my wife says dogs have masters, cats have servants.
Oh, yeah.
So we have to understand our role in the cat hierarchy.
Well, I say, you don't own a cat, they own you.
They own you. That's the truth. Pleasure talking to you. Call me anytime your cat jumps on the keyboard. Okay. Command, or either Control, Alt, and the up arrow. Down arrow is what the cat hit.
Oh, I see. Okay.
He's very clever. He knew exactly what to hit. I can't believe he did it twice. Once,
I know, and years apart.
Yeah, once you could say, well, that's just an accident, but twice sounds like he's up to something.
Yep, he is.
Hey, thanks for the call.
I have one more thing.
Oh, yeah, sure.
About this AM radio, if they ever take that off the air, I am out of communication altogether.
Well, I'm on most of the stations we're on our AM radio, including our flagship station, KFI AM in Los Angeles. I grew up on AM radio. I was very excited when I got into AM radio. It took me a while because they said, no, you have an FM voice. So I said, well, if I talk like this, do I sound like I belong on AM radio? They said, you're hired.
I always said AM is for local and FM is for world.
I think that really there is nothing in the world, and I've been in this business 40 years, and so obviously I love it. But there's nothing in the world that competes with radio, even podcasts, because it's live and it's local, and it's somebody talking to you down the street in real time about things your community cares about. And you're right, that's AM radio in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's the best thing.
That's what we need. Yep.
Thank you so very much for taking my call.
My great
and I
pleasure.
listen to you every weekend.
Thank you, Diana.
You're welcome.
Keep listening. We'll see you next time. Thank you. Kitten on the keys. That's the kitten on the keys. They'll do it every time. It's amazing that the cat was able to do that twice. I think most people couldn't even do it once. They wouldn't even know. I happen to remember. This episode of our podcast brought to you by a touchy subject. Okay, this is important. And guys, I'm talking to you. Now, if your significant other's in the room, I bet he or she will agree with what I'm about to say. You can ask them. We're brought up as guys, right, to not show pain. I think that's fair, right? When you get hit in baseball, remember in Little League, ball hits you, coach says, don't cry, rub it out, walk it out, rub some dirt on it. There's no crying in baseball. Who doesn't know that, right? And I think that we're taught to be stoic, but that doesn't always serve men's health issues. It's why every spouse says, I can never go to the doctor for crying out loud. And every husband says, no, I don't need it. It's fine. It's just a flesh wound. It's all right. It's fine. But there isn't any reason to suffer. A lot of things happen to guys that are easily fixed. I'll give you a really sensitive subject, really touchy one, ED, erectile dysfunction. Let me tell you, your wife isn't happy about it. You're not happy about it. But you don't want to, I'm going to be stoic. It's okay. I'm fine. I'm doing fine. You don't want to talk to the doctor. And I don't blame you, but I got an easy way to do this. See, the guys at Roman know all about men's health issues. In fact, they've created, it's kind of perfect timing, an online digital health clinic for men. And it treats all kinds of men's issues, not just sexual health, but hair, skin. They have supplements for daily health. It's great, but it's always backed, and this is super important, by a doctor licensed in your state. That's really important. These are real MDs, real physicians. It's telemedicine. It's not some guy who's just going to write up a prescription and it doesn't matter. Because, and this is why Roman was started, sometimes ED and other conditions can be signs of other problems, underlying conditions. So you want to talk to a doctor. Really important. That's what Roman's all about. You don't have to feel awkward. It's awkward to talk about it, I understand, but you don't have to feel awkward. It's a simple, convenient solution to get the treatment you need without leaving home. So it's safe too. You get discreet professional care. You get genuine prescription medication. And yes, not only do they have the big brand names, they also have generics. And you can save a lot of money. You can talk to them about that. They have over-the-counter treatments, all delivered in unmarked packaging. No big announcement, hey, your Roman package is here. No. They make it convenient for you to get the treatment you need right from your home. So, guys, don't rub dirt in it. Don't walk it off. Grab a computer, grab your phone, complete a free online visit. You'll hear back from a U.S. licensed physician within 24 hours. And here's the important point. It's a real checkup. If the doctor decides the treatment's right for you, and only if it's right for you, he'll prescribe or she'll prescribe medication that can be shipped to your door with free 2-day shipping. You also get, this is so great, free unlimited follow-ups with your doctor anytime, whether it's you got questions or you want to adjust your treatment plan, whatever it is, they're there for you. This is a really important service. That's why I'm really proud and pleased to be telling you about them. With Roman, there's no commitment. You can cancel at any time. It's really a great way to get the wellness, the care you need without the awkwardness, without the shame. But stop suffering. Stop suffering. You don't need to. Roman's there for you. If you're struggling with ED, stay home. Go to GetRoman.com/TechGuy for a free online visit and free 2-day shipping. GetRoman.com/TechGuy for a free online visit, free 2-day shipping. I'm telling you, it's a big relief. It's a relief. You just feel better immediately. GetRoman.com/TechGuy. Thank you, Roman, for supporting the Tech Guy Show. I'm glad to be telling the world about it. Oh, now back to the podcast. Paul in Rancho Cucamonga, California. Hi, Paul.
Hey, Leo. How are you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Wonderful, wonderful. Long-time fan. I still have the video, the VHS video, How to Build a PC with you and Patrick Norton. That's one of my favorite keepsakes.
I have it. I'm looking at it on my shelf. That thing is so out of date. Well, I'm glad you have it. That's awesome. Thank you.
Yeah, that was my first experience building a PC using that video. So
wow. That's really fun. I've made a few videos on how to build a PC. I don't think I'll be making any more, though. Probably not the best use of time. What can I do for you?
Okay, yes. Well, I was recently in, it just posted today, the Eric Whitaker Virtual Choir 6. David Pogue talked about it this morning on CBS Sunday this morning.
Cool. You're in that?
Yeah, well, along with 17,000 other singers. So
it's not that exclusive, but still.
Yeah. It's a wonderful, symbol of unity and everything. If you want, I can drop a couple links.
Oh, it's all on YouTube. I've seen it. It's really great stuff. Really neat stuff.
Awesome. And so I wanted to kind of give a shout out to that for everybody to watch it. It's great. But I wanted to ask, since I was in that, and I kind of wanted to get more into doing this on my own.
Yeah.
And I've heard of a few, I've seen a few YouTube videos on how to make Zoom, how to remove as much latency as you can.
Yeah, see, that's the trick. That's what Eric's doing that's so interesting. And so tell me, when you're in the choir on the call, you're all by yourself? What are you hearing?
Well, the way that one works is it's all pre-recorded. He does those all pre-recorded. Like, he sets up all the tools, and we get the score, and he even does rehearsal videos. But
how do you do the tempo? Does he send you a click track or a metronome or something?
Oh, it's actually pretty ingenious. He plays the video, and he claps, and he says, everybody clap at the same time, and you hear the clap, and that lines everybody up.
3, 2, 1, boom. And then he can, with his editing computer, he sees that clap as a big spike on the waveform, and he lines that all up. Now everybody's starting at the same time. But the next problem, of course, is to make sure they stay on tempo. Because if you get ahead, you'll be, you want to stay as if you're singing with the actual choir. So he's obviously doing something. He's playing back audio to you that you're singing along with, I guess.
Yeah, Yes, and I believe he got like a bunch of students from the Colburn School of Music in the LA area, like a bunch of interns to give them jobs. He kind of had them sort of screen the videos and look for issues, and I think they just try to line it all up. And whenever people are not singing, they
so cool. Hey, I have to run, but hang on. We'll talk some more off the air. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. More of your calls coming up. So
I hear you.
I get this call a lot, and I've mentioned those other services, but and then I've talked to musicians since who say, yeah, you wouldn't make a recording that way. You might be able to rehearse that way. But yeah. And you know, I've seen, you remember, I don't know if you remember John Krasinski's Some Good News channel on YouTube, where he got for instance, the cast of Hamilton to get together and sing a song from Hamilton. That was done the same way. You have to do that the same way. You can't do it in real time.
Yeah.
You can't do it live.
Yeah. Pogue does it with like a group of 6 on in the segment, and they sing Happy Birthday, and it just kind of falls apart.
Yeah, we've done that. So we do that at work. We, you know, when people are at work, they will have birthday parties for everybody's birthday, and we tried once doing it on Zoom. It was so awful. We never tried it again.
Yeah, what's fascinating about music, and Whitaker talks about this, is literally milliseconds of time is like an eternity.
That's right.
When synchronizing voices and instruments together.
That's
really very interesting.
It's very, very difficult to do. So he must have a lot of volunteer editors and so forth who help him with this.
Yeah.
You couldn't.
Yeah. So tell everybody to support by buying the tracks on iTunes.
They're
or
beautiful. I will. This is. I didn't see the CBS this morning. I'll have to watch that. And then I will definitely buy some of this. Good for him for doing this. That's really cool. Really cool. And he's been doing it for a long time. Yeah, that's kind of neat.
Oh, yeah. This is the 6th version. I think he started in 2010 or sometime around that with the first one. So it's been getting larger and larger. And especially because of the pandemic, they went from the last one, Deep Field, which is a great one on like the Deep Field Hubble telescope.
Yeah.
With 7,000 singers, and then from about 6,000 or 7,000 to 17,000 because everybody's home. So yeah, it's huge.
So if you really are serious about this, you can spend some money. He sells for $600 a hard drive with all the individual tracks on it, and you can load it into your digital audio workstation, your DAW, so you can see what's going on. You can actually see.
Yeah, Whitaker shares everything. He shows the whole, very transparent, shows the whole process.
Yeah, it's really, really very interesting. Yeah, holy cow. That's a work of a lifetime. That's really interesting. Yeah. Hey, it's a pleasure talking to you.
Yes, thank you, Leo.
My pleasure. Oh, I'm so glad you shared that. That's fantastic. Take care, Paul.
All right, we'll see you.
Well, hey, how are you today? Leo Laporte here, the tech guy. Time to talk computers, the internet, home theater, digital photography, smartphones, smartwatches, and 17,000 singer choirs. We'll put a link in the show notes to both the performance, which you can see on YouTube, and David Pogue's story on CBS this morning or Sunday morning, because that's a fascinating thing. The guy who does this also sells, which is kind of interesting. It's a specialty thing. If you're really interested in how he does it, Eric Whitaker sells for $600 a hard drive. You get a hard drive with a 22-singer version of this that you can load into your digital audio workstation, your Pro Tools or whatever, and see how he does it. So if you're curious about the audio part, but it's really the shorthand is it's a lot of work. It's very painstaking work to get it all synced up, and boy, it sure sounds beautiful. Sure sounds beautiful. So I'm really thrilled Paul called in last hour to share that with us. Let's get back to the phones. On the line right now, Dave from Los Angeles, our next caller. Hi, Dave.
Well, hello, Leo. How are you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Well, okay. I had a thought about a week ago, some major overhaul on my system I'm considering.
Okay.
Okay, I've been playing off computers ever since the Windows 95 days, and I'm long since past the days where I use my computer as my own personal play school busy box. You know what I mean?
That's a really good analogy, isn't it? Just like a little kid with their busy box.
I had a saying, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. But you can make it cooler, faster, what have you.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
Anyway, my thing of it is that you don't have to be an electrician to turn on a light bulb. You don't have to be a refrigeration mechanic to use your air conditioner. My computer, I don't want to be reliant on Microsoft or Apple, or for that matter, Google, you know, in regards to Chromebooks.
So you want to be your own electrician?
Well, here's my thought. I used to use Linux Ubuntu on my old laptop. I ran it off a thumb drive about 10 years ago or so, and it worked great. I'm thinking I can, on my computer right now, in the BIOS screen, I can select an operating system to boot into, you know?
Right.
So why don't I just go with some version of Linux?
Yep.
And I can use LibreOffice.
Yep.
I love using Earth and View for images.
Yep.
And I've got Google Chrome as my browser. Simple, reliable, and easy to use.
I think you're exactly right. That's kind of what Linux is. It's a third operating system. Well, really fourth if you include Chrome OS, Mac OS, Windows. Linux is open source, and that's the difference. The others are what we call proprietary. They're run by a company, they're owned by a company, and in many respects, the details are kept secret by the company. And that means, yeah, you often need an expert to fix things. Sometimes you're completely reliant on the company. Linux is the opposite. It's created by hobbyists, enthusiasts, hardcore programmers. As with all open source software, the basic source code used to create it is not proprietary, is not kept secret, but is open to all. And if you have, you know, it depends on the level of skill you have, but if you're a coder, you can modify it, you can contribute to it. I think open software is brilliant. I'm a huge fan, and I think you're exactly on the right track. Virtually any computer can run a version of Linux. There are many, many versions, hundreds of versions. They're all based on the Linux kernel created by Linus Torvalds in the 1990s and updated by him and a team of many people over the years. He is brilliant, and his team is brilliant, and they've made that kernel a very modern, powerful kernel. And then the entire Linux distribution takes the kernel of the operating system that Linus did and adds software, generally software from the GNU project, the Free Software Foundation's project, to create versions of software that are free and open source of all the major kinds of software. And you mentioned LibreOffice, which is a free Microsoft Office style suite, but there's all sorts of great stuff for photo editing, for music editing. Pretty much these days, there's nothing that you need Windows or Mac for. You can pretty much do anything in Linux.
Okay, now as far as like reliable security issues,
I would submit Linux is more secure because you have a lot of people working on it all the time, and when there's a problem with Microsoft, we have to rely on Microsoft to fix it, and we have to rely on Microsoft to find it, you know. So with Linux, because it's open source, anybody can, you know, it's easily fixed. They tend to be fixed quickly. But I'm going to give you kind of the roadmap of Linux as it exists today.
I use Ubuntu, but I know there's a lot.
I'm not a fan of Ubuntu. That's run by a company called Canonical. It's still open source, but I don't agree with some of the decisions Canonical has made with Ubuntu. So I'm going to mention a couple of other Linux distributions I would like. Ubuntu is built on something called Debian, which is one of the oldest versions of Linux. Debian is a fully community supported. There is no commercial entity involved with it. It's thousands of volunteers. It has probably the largest array of packages. I think it's 45,000 programs in their repositories that will run on Debian. So Debian is the ultimate in kind of open source community supported Linux, and I really like it a lot. There is another, that's one flavor, and that's say again?
That would be good, like, say, for downloads and stuff, like you want.
Everything is available. And Ubuntu, the reason Ubuntu is built on Debian is because they take advantage of all the work those community people have done, and then they put their little thing on top of it. And there are other versions like Pop! OS, which is also by a commercial company, System 76, that do the same thing. They take Ubuntu and then they do their spin on top of it. But if you like that style, I would go with Debian. There's another style they call rolling release Linux. And if you sound like an enthusiast, this might be right for you. The rolling releases are more up to date. They're a little trickier because you get the updates the minute the upstream software creator pushes it out. There's no wait period. With Debian, there's a vetting period. They have a testing version. They have a stable version. I use Debian on servers because it's so stable, but you'll never have the latest version of any program on there. It's usually several versions behind because they intentionally want to keep it super stable. So if stability is what you're looking for, Debian Stable is a good choice. I like rolling versions of Linux because I am one of those guys who likes the latest version of everything. Sure. And the latest Firefox. I don't use Chrome on my Linux. I use Firefox, the latest LibreOffice, all of that stuff. Say again?
Can I ask why Firefox and not Chrome?
Well, same thing. Chrome is run by Google.
And Firefox is open.
Firefox is open. It is, Chrome is based on Chromium, which is an open source project, but it's still a Google run project, and it has Google's mission is still built in, and Google's mission is it's an ad company. So so for privacy, I think Firefox is truer to the open spirit. So that's why I use Firefox.
Before, but I haven't heard of it lately too much.
Oh, it's great. I still use it all the time. They've kept it very up to date. It does a very good job of blocking trackers. It's the most privacy focused, I think, of all the browsers. But that's neither here nor there. Arch Linux is another community supported. It has the best community. The Arch Wiki is what a lot of other Linux users go to find out how to fix stuff, how to use stuff. Part of the reason is people who use Arch, and they'll be fast to tell you, roll their own. They start from scratch and build up the Linux from scratch. Now, I've done that. It's a lot of work. It's tricky. At the end of it, you will know Linux better than you did before, for sure. You'll be a Linux expert. If you want the benefits of Arch, a rolling distribution by a very active community, but you don't want to do all the hard work, there is a distribution based on Arch called Manjaro, M-A-N-J-R-O. That's what I usually use on my machines. It is a rolling release. It's very up to date. Manjaro, the group, is all community driven. There's no company behind it. And one of the things I like about them, they are a little slower to update. They let the updates stew for a week or so before they push them out. So it's a little less Arch, you're living on the edge. But you built it yourself, so you know how to fix it. It's like you built your car from scratch, so you know if the transmission goes exactly what to do. Manjaro is for somebody who wants to buy a car ready-made, but wants the benefits of a car that's built from scratch. And I think Manjaro, for most people, is a good choice. The other reason I like Manjaro is it works. It's on virtually all hardware. It's very compatible.
How do you spell that again?
M-A-N-J-A-R-O. It's at manjaro.org.
Okay.
And it's certainly the first one I would try. Ubuntu for a long time was the kind of default Linux, but I don't think it's the best Linux out there.
Okay. Well,
I would look at Debian or Arch, and if you're lazy like me, the Manjaro Linux, which is based on Arch. Take a look at the Arch project, though, because if you've got some time, you have a computer, I wouldn't dual boot it. I would put it on a computer that's all by itself because you don't want to mess up that other computer. But if you have some time and you really want to understand how the whole thing works and fits together, Arch is a really good choice. And the Arch Wiki has excellent step-by-step instructions, so you won't be on your own.
Okay, well, it's very, very good. Thank you very much.
That's my Linux talk. I'm glad you gave me a chance to say it. I don't get to say it very often. I agree with you, Dave. These days, there's no reason to be tied to a company, their update schedule, their security patches, their commercial interests, when you can use an operating system that's developed by enthusiasts, by a community. I think they run just as well as, in fact, in most cases, better than the commercial operating systems. They're more secure, they're updated more regularly, they're maintained by people who deeply care about what they're doing. That gives you a good result. Much better result, frankly. Windows, Microsoft is not a good steward of Windows. It is a nightmare. It's hard to recommend it anymore, to be honest. All right, you got me on my soapbox. I'll step down now. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 8888 Ask Leo, the phone number. We'll talk about anything. I know we got a little geeky last call. I apologize. On the line, Shar from Cambridge, Minnesota. Hi, Shar.
A second. Back swallowed.
I hate that. I hate it when that happens.
Let me preface what I'm saying. I live here in Minnesota. Just a perfect place for penguins. If you know what
Not now. It's beautiful now, right?
It's hotter than hell.
Yeah. So penguins would not like it.
No, they wouldn't. I've got a problem. I have been a subscriber to Hulu for probably 9 years or more.
Yeah.
I use LastPass.
Okay.
It captures what I need, and also Google does because I use that also.
Okay.
I logged in yesterday morning to Hulu to try and look at one of the movies I'd seen.
Yeah.
And it said, well, and it put the names in, it put my name in there and put all the information, the password.
Yeah.
And it said, we don't know you.
What?
Excuse me.
What?
I have tried today 9 times to get into that and reset my password. I even used another address I had, and I couldn't find it. They didn't send the request.
So they never sent the password reset to either of the email addresses that you use?
No. On the contrary.
Oh, they did?
On the contrary. They sent it to my normal my normal email.
Yeah.
And every time I answered it just the way they wanted me to do it.
You clicked the link, went back, gave it a new password.
A new password. And I've even tried using the password that they suggest. And I checked it. It logs in. It looks right. But as soon as I try and log in to Hulu, it ain't there. And I even paid for it as a new subscriber.
Oh, dear.
Still ain't there.
You must really like that Hulu.
Well, it's one of several. But, I mean, you know, what are we all tied up now or not?
Yeah, that's right. So that's an interesting conundrum. In other words, when you enter your password, which you know to be right because you've reset it several times.
And wait a second here. I have gone into my gets me so upset here. I've gone into my Google setups of passwords, and I found all the ones that were associated with Hulu. I deleted all them. Then I tried it again, and they were there.
Well, can you type the password by hand? Let's eliminate the password manager.
Tried that too.
And that doesn't work either.
Nope. Because I had the password. I had made it up from, Alt-G to make the password in.
So where does Google come into this? Are you using a password manager? Oh, you're talking about Chrome. I know what you're talking about. You use the browser to remember your passwords. Okay, I got that.
It had been that, and it has worked just flawlessly.
Neither Chrome nor LastPass is doing the right thing. You know, when you update the password, you have to update it in LastPass or Chrome. But I presume you're doing that, right? When you're changing the password.
Tried that.
Yeah. So that's first thing, is it's not going to know the password. The way LastPass works, when you change a password, it says, oh, a little pop-up comes up in the upper right and says, oh, you want me to update the password that I have on file? And you say, yes, please, because I just changed it. And most of the time that works just fine. I'm not sure how Chrome handles it, but they're probably something similar. It says, oh, I see you've changed the password. Should I copy the new one? And you say yes. But I don't think that's the issue, because you've done the same thing by hand, right? So the next password reset, you type something really dopey, like something you can do right. Caps lock off, type change me and your zip code or something like that. Something you're not going to use permanently, but that you have hand typed.
I have tried my house address and street address together.
I don't need the extra detail. So you've done that. Then you go and you try to log in and you hand type it, I'm not saying use any password manager, you hand type it, it still doesn't work.
Absolutely.
Okay, well, that's not LastPass or Chrome. It's something wrong with Hulu. I got to think. I think I would call Hulu and say, look, dudes, what's going on? Because that's clearly a problem on their end. Especially, I mean, I could see if you were not manually entering it, but if you're manually entering it carefully and it's still not working, that's their fault. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. That's my password. Easy to remember, easy to share, gets you right into Hulu. Now, if you're having, if there's something, that sounds so weird that there's something's going on there where you can't enter you're looking at the password, you can't enter it. That's got to be a problem with Hulu, right? 8888 Ask Leo, that's the phone number. On we go with the show. Glenn is on the line from Selmer, Tennessee. Hello, Glenn.
Hey, buddy. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, man. Doing great.
Wonderful.
Hey, I've got to get you back on your Windows box. So.
Oh, you're a big Windows fan, huh?
Well, I'm not a fan. That's the only one I know how to operate.
You know, don't you feel lately that it's been just a little rocky with the Windows? Like they just keep breaking stuff.
These last few updates have really, I think, it screwed me.
I think that's the problem. They're trying to update too often now, twice a year, and that's not good.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But anyway, I'll try to make this short for you. Of course, it kept on wanting to do the Microsoft Edge, and I never did.
Another reason. They're forcing people to use Edge all of a sudden.
And of course, I still use Chrome. I got
good man.
Google and stuff on there, but anyway, it came on there, and ever since that, my Dell, of course, it's just a couple of years old. It's still got under warranty under the
good.
Dell, I get the Dell support assist.
Yep, that's very good support.
It out for me ever so often, and on it part of the update of the day was some of the support tools that came up on it, and of course I done that because I want to be, but I do have but ever since then, Leo, it's been putting like I have that site Deal News where you get all the deals from everywhere.
I use Deal News,
and it just blows the screen off the page, off the screen, you know. Well, I have to go up there and hit the little square, view in another browser or something there.
So the page goes outside the borders of your screen.
Right. There you go.
Yeah.
That's one thing that happened. But I can use that, view it in another browser. And
so that's only in Edge that's happening? Or is it happening in Chrome?
Well, it's just coming in. It comes in on that because I get it through an email.
And then you click the link in the email.
Yeah, and I think it opens it in Edge just by default or something, don't it?
And your Edge window, it is the default. You can change that, by the way. That's in the default application settings in the control panel. But it sounds like Edge is opening too big. You should check to see if Edge is maximized and maybe not have it maximized. But it does also sound like something's wrong with your Windows. I hate to say it.
I'm thinking I didn't have that trouble before.
Yeah, it sounds like Windows thinks your screen is bigger than it is.
Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, it got slower. I mean, it was real fast, Of course, I've got Spectrum Internet, and it's plenty fast. It always just opened pages. Well, it seemed like it slowed down since that last download. Update. And also, I wanted to ask you, too.
So you're trying to convince me to use Windows? Glenn, I'm going to convince you to stop.
Oh, okay. I got you now. Okay.
This sounds like you're having a lot of problems with this Windows thing.
Well, I mean, it's got better. With I think the Dell support.
I think you have Stockholm syndrome. You're being...
I may have. It may have 19 on it now, for all I know. COVID hit it too. And I saw one ask you on my the Dell support assist deal. Of course, it come with a McAfee virus deal. Do I need to get rid of that?
Get rid of that. You don't need that. That just makes you less secure, not more secure. Because Windows 10 has you have Windows 10, I presume.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Windows 10 has a very nice antivirus built in. You don't need any third party. Save your money, and that's also one of the reasons systems slow down. The thing that's there are a couple of things bothering me. One, that it's slowed down so much. The other, Windows should never make a window bigger than your screen. So either it thinks you have a different screen. So I would go into the device manager, make sure it knows what kind of computer do you have? Is it a laptop, desktop?
A desktop.
Okay.
Desktop.
And so the screen's not built in, it's a separate screen.
Yeah, I have the all-in-one.
Oh, you do have an all-in-one, so it's built in. Oh, well, in that case, it should never be confused about the screen. It's a Dell all-in-one, huh? Just check to make sure that the Windows device manager thinks that you have a Dell monitor. That could be part of the problem. The slowdown bothers me. If you do an update and suddenly it's much slower, there are two possibilities. One, that the update has screwed up your computer, and given Microsoft's recent track record, I wouldn't be surprised. But also, the computers tend to slow down because the hard drive is starting to go bad. And that's the most common cause of a much slowed down computer, because it's trying to read the hard drive and it doesn't get it right away, so it goes back and tries again, finally gets it. Then it goes to the next sector. That one's hard to read. And so you're waiting around as the Windows is trying to understand what it's getting from the hard drive. That's one of the reasons for being slowed. You don't have another monitor hooked up, right?
No.
You've never done that?
No.
One other possibility, Sophia in the chat room is mentioning this, and this is possible. There is a zoom feature, a magnifier available in Windows. Maybe that got turned on by accident.
I don't know, but like you say,
it's a keystroke, so it's possible you accidentally hit the right number of keys, and it did it. So I would go into the accessibility control panel. And look at that and make sure zoom is turned off. There's no screen zoom. Unfortunately, this is a hard thing for me to diagnose because I'm not in front of it.
And it just does it under that one website.
It doesn't do it anywhere else?
No
other websites, just that one website?
No, just that one website.
Well, it's conceivable that website's doing something wrong.
And two, I've noticed here lately on the last couple of days, I get several, it does the deals sites, say Walmart or something like that,
right,
with their deals, and I'll click up. Well, it's slower to open that page. Used to just click.
And then that can be other things. That could be your internet service provider. Spectrum could be having trouble.
Right.
It could be the DNS lookup. When you first open any page, the computer has to go out and ask Spectrum, where is this? And Spectrum will give it a number back. If that's slow, if their DNS servers are slow, that can be slow too. The problem is these things are so dang complicated, and it could be any number of things happening. So all I can say is point to a couple of things. I just don't know what's going on. I really don't.
Right.
So you're saying the edge of the window is going past your screen. Not that the text is super big, not that it's filling up the window.
The text. It's the pictures and everything are going past.
But you don't see the frame of the edge screen. It's gone off screen. Yeah.
And like you say, I have to go to that little box. Looks like a little box up there in the right corner, and it says view in another browser or something, or view in another page, and it pulls it back. When I hit on that, it goes back down into normal size.
Yeah, that may be just something wrong with that page. Maybe ignore that page. But the slowdown thing worries me a little bit. Boy, I just don't know how to fix this whole thing. It's just a mess. It's just a mess. And if you go to that page, but not clicking in the email, you just go to the page, is it all right? I think the browser, I don't know what's going on. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. You got me. I don't know. I can't figure it out.
I've been with you since back in the day, way before Pat even Norton and all of them.
Oh, with Kate? You watched with me and Kate on the screensavers?
Yes.
Oh, bless you, Glenn. Bless you.
Way back.
Yeah, we were big. Are you near Nashville? Where's Selmer?
Oh, yeah, we're right in between Nashville and Memphis. Just
Okay.
about 100 miles either way.
Okay.
We're on the Mississippi border.
Yeah, I know where you are. Because we came out, we did a Nashville appearance, and we did one in Knoxville. I remember Louisville. I remember going to Louisville.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway.
Jackson, Tennessee. I mean.
Yeah. Yeah, we were big.
Perkins and all that bunch from there.
Tech TV's first big audience was in the Southeast. Yeah, I don't know why, but we got a lot of stations in the Southeast picked us up.
It was big in here back that day.
Those were the days.
Yep.
I loved visiting Tennessee. We came out a few times, and I really loved visiting Tennessee. It's a great state.
Yeah.
Nashville was so much fun. I've never been to Memphis. I'm dying to go to Memphis.
Yeah, you need to go there sometime. I mean,
I want to see Graceland.
It's kind of rough, but it's got a lot of good places.
Good music, right?
Studio.
Yeah.
Good music.
Yeah.
Everybody wants to go to Beale Street.
Yeah, Beale Street.
Graceland.
My favorite song is "Walking in Memphis."
That's right.
I love that song. Hey, it's a pleasure to talk to you, Glenn. I don't really have a fix for you. It's a brand new computer. I just don't know what's going on.
I'll keep digging.
Keep playing. Look in the zoom and the accessibility settings in the control panel.
Yeah.
It's weird that it's only that page. It might just be there's something about that page that's telling the browser, make that window really big, which is weird.
So you think, with that being in the Dell built already in, of course, it came with in the Dell support assist, the McAfee, I can still get that deleted out of there.
McAfee pays them to put that there, but you can uninstall it and don't ever pay for it again. You don't need it.
I'm not, buddy.
Good man. Glenn, what a pleasure. Nice to talk to an old friend.
Good talk.
Take care.
Have a good day.
All right, my friend. Bye-bye. I wish I could help more. I just don't know what's going on. So this is the weird thing about running Disk Optimizer on an SSD. There is, of course, no need to optimize an SSD ever. But Microsoft has set it up so that Disk Optimizer, when it sees an SSD, will run trim. And you do want to run trim every few months, but that's all. So I don't know if you can change the setting in Disk Optimizer. You could not do it and just manually. That's probably the best thing to do. Just turn off defrag on that drive, on the SSD drive, and then, but the good news is defrag on an SSD drive doesn't actually defrag. All it does is run trim. My. Thank you for letting me be the tech guy, your tech guy again. I really appreciate it. Thanks to Professor Laura, our musical director, to Kim Schaffer, our phone angel, my internet scribe, James DeRuvo. Most of all, thanks to you for being here, for listening, for calling if you did. I really appreciate it. I really do. Leo Laporte, the tech guy. Final segment of the day. Going to wrap this up here. Let's go to my good friend Micah. He's up in Maine. Yeah. Hey, Micah.
Hey, Leo. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
Oh, just doing fine up here in the heat of Maine for a change.
Nice.
Still your Maine man. Hey, I'm calling for two reasons. One, and maybe the most important because the other one I have a general idea about, but is that last week you were talking about microphones, somebody calling in, trying to set up something, and they wanted a microphone, and you made two recommendations, but you left one out that I think is really, really important and is my personal favorite for podcasting based on price and quality. If I had my choice, I would definitely get a PR40 with a Focusrite Scarlett amplifier.
That's what we use, yeah.
But if you don't want to spend your money on that, the Audio-Technica ATR 2100 is just amazing and very inexpensive. It's as good as an SM58. It's both XLR and USB. And Audio-Technica also offers a lifetime warranty on it. And I've had friends that have had them damaged or fouled them up themselves and were able to get them replaced with very little charge. It's just a great mic. It's almost it's not a PR40, but it's pretty close.
How much do they charge for that?
The mic right now, everything's expensive right now because you can't get them. But
Yeah.
on Amazon right now, you can get one that comes with the pop filter and a boom arm and a shock mount, all for $125.
That's a great price. That's actually pretty close to what I paid. I bought the I think it was a 2020 when they first started doing these USB mics, and yes, I was very impressed. What's the current model?
It's the ATR 2100X, which is actually USB-C, but they also include a regular USB-C to USB cable.
I like it that it's USB-C. I want to get rid of all those other USB interfaces.
Right, and it's also got a headphone out on it, so it's designed so that it can be your audio out, and it's a fabulous mic. Again, very inexpensive. I have 3 of them. I keep one in the trunk of my car, and I have an adapter so I can plug it into my iPhone. So I need to do a recording for the airplane geeks in the field. I got one with me all the time. I have one in my go bag, and I keep one mounted on my desk.
Yeah.
Because normally, normally you can get them for between $60 and $100.
Right.
But right now,
the list is 100. So I have to say I apologize, and you're absolutely right. Actually, I don't apologize. I'm glad it gave you an opportunity to call in. I bought those when Audio-Technica first started doing them, and I was very impressed. They are dynamic, which is like the Heil PR40, my recommendation. They're more robust. They're less sensitive. What's the off-axis rejection? The room noise. Is it pretty good on that?
It's very, very good. Yeah. It's really super. You move off axis, and it's gone. So
that's what you want
in the background, and it's absolutely perfect.
Excellent.
It's really good. If I could call you on Skype with that, you would just hear how good it is, and you'd say, "Wow, is he using a PR40?" Well, but you'd come pretty close.
Well, audio. These guys know what they're doing. They've been doing it for a long time, and they were one of the first. Samsung, I think, was the first to do USB mics, but that ATR came out pretty quick after that, and I have one. I can see it right now in my cabinet. I have one that I really like. So, and Audio-Technica does very good stuff. So, thank you.
Yeah, and the fact that you have USB and XLR on the
great. Isn't that nice?
Really handy.
Yeah, it's really nice.
Handy.
Appreciate it, Micah. Yes.
The other reason that I called, the primary reason, is you told me to get iDrive, and if you tell me to do something, Leo, I got to do it, right?
Yeah.
But I've got a question about it. Everything backs up, but every night I always see that there are 5 files that failed. I don't know what files they are, but it's the same message every night when it does the full backup. It started with 3, now it's 5. I've been using it for about a month now. Hasn't changed from the 5. Have any idea what's going on? Is there any way to check?
I don't, but you can view the logs. They may not show that information in the pop-up, but iDrive does have logs. Are you on Windows or Mac?
I'm on Windows 10. I'm sorry to say.
No, I don't apologize to me. So there is a view logs item in the if you click the tray, the iDrive icon in the system tray, right-click on it, you'll see view logs. Go and look. The log will give you more detail about what is not being backed up. There are a lot of reasons a file might not be backed up. Permissions issues is common. There's just a lot of reasons. It may also be a file that you don't want to be backed up. It might be, your registry or your Windows swap file. That wouldn't be a good thing to back up. So what you want to do, the next step is look at the log, see what it is that's not backing up. And then you'll be able to figure out. The log may give you the information you need, but if not, you should be able to figure out, well, why isn't it backing that up? And usually it's a permissions issue. You don't own that file, or it doesn't have read permissions, that kind of thing.
Sounds super. Leo, thank you so much. And
My pleasure.
Hope you have a great day and as you would say, a great geek week.
Thanks, Micah. Really good to talk to you. Great recommendation, that Audio-Technica mic. You're right. I should not leave that one out. That is a very popular mic. And boy, the price is right on that. Really, really excellent. Al's in New Mexico, our final call of the day. Hi, Al.
How are you, Leo?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. I'm Al, the 14 or 15-year Linux novice. I'm losing track already.
Some of the day, you're going to have to retire that novice badge.
I'm going to have to eventually. So, quick question regarding VPNs.
Yes.
Our friends at Google YouTube TV, on May 20th, because I wrote the date down, VPN proxy detected.
Oh, boy.
In order to continue, you have to turn off your VPN. So, two-part question. I know why they're doing it, because they want to know location.
Right.
But more importantly, how are they knowing I'm using a VPN? Now, I know your chat room disables VPN usage.
Yes, we try to block VPNs.
Yeah.
For a different reason. We don't want people anonymizing themselves before they come in because spammers, trolls, that kind of people, we don't want them.
Right.
So there really is no perfect way to detect a VPN. Most of the time you get detected because you're coming from a known IP address, the IP address run by that VPN company, and they go, oh, he's on a VPN. Which VPN are you using?
Private internet access. Okay. And that was going to be my educated guess. Like they have a list of VPN IP addresses.
Yeah, there's no distinct... Yeah. There's no distinct... Once you emerge from the VPN server that you're coming out on and go into the public internet, there's no distinct... tag on your traffic. There's no way to see that traffic say, oh, that's from a VPN. It's completely normal once it exits the VPN server. So they only do it by IP address. So a couple of things you could do. Try a different server.
I tried that.
Yeah, it's so funny because some VPNs are not very good at getting around this stuff, and some are very good. And I don't know exactly what it is. It may be the ones that do it well are rotating IP addresses, things like that. So it may be just another VPN might be a better choice for you. I use, and it's a sponsor, so I'll give them the disclaimer, a company called ExpressVPN, and I can use Netflix, Hulu, YouTube TV, no problem. And so I don't know what they're doing, but it's something like rotating those addresses, you know. They're doing something. Lately, by the way, a lot of VPN companies who say they are not logging, which is what you want, you know, for your own privacy, have been found to log. So that's another reason it's important to choose a good company, a reliable company, a trustworthy company for your VPN. I don't know how YouTube TV is detecting PIA, but if you can't try another server, maybe try another company. Hey, that's it for this week. Leo Laporte, the Tech Guy. Have a great geek week. Well, that's it for the Tech Guy Show for today. Thank you so much for being here. And don't forget, TWiT, T-W-I-T. It stands for This Week in Tech, and you'll find it at twit.tv, including the podcasts for this show. We talk about Windows on Windows Weekly, Macintosh on MacBreak Weekly, iPads, iPhones, Apple Watches on iOS Today, security on Security Now. I mean, I can go on and on and on. And, of course, the big show every Sunday afternoon, This Week in Tech. You'll find it all at twit.tv. And I'll be back next week with another great Tech Guys show. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.